Good morning, everybody. It's me again, Truth Teacher, coming at you with another video. With a slight change in scenery, as you can see. Back when I was in college the first time, back in the 90s, I'd had a friend. She was Palestinian. Her parents had had an arranged marriage. They were from a very small, conservative town in the West Bank in Palestine. And in that village, the culture was such that a man had to establish his authority over his wife or demonstrate to her, make her understand that he was the head right from Jump Street, from the night of the wedding, right? So I don't remember exactly what she said had happened, but long story short, her father slapped the crap out of her mother. And her mother responded by picking something up and bashing the shit out of him. Well, she said to him on that night, "Motherfucker, don't you ever, as long as you fucking live, don't you ever put your hands on me again. Because if you do, I'ma fucking kill your ass up in here." Her father never put his hands on her mother ever again. Now, why do I tell that story? I tell that story to demonstrate a life principle. There's certain situations in life where you have to set a really firm boundary and let people know how they are supposed to treat you. Because unfortunately, there are people in this world who don't understand that everybody that you see around you is worthy and deserving of respect, simply for the fact that they're human beings. Now, like you, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the events that are unfolding in the country in the past week, right? And ordinarily, I avoid talking on these issues because it's very hard for me, because I've grown up my whole life practically seeing things like this happening, and I already know what the outcome is going to be. And for the sake of my own mental health, I need to choose where I put my attention. But I feel the need that I have to speak on this, and I have to look at it in a slightly different way. Now, there's two parts of this, okay? The first part is going to piss a lot of people off. But for those of you who are going to be triggered by what I have to say, I would say this: don't jump the gun. I am going somewhere with this, and I would ask you to be patient and to actually wait to the end of the video until you hear everything that I have to say so you get a full context, right? Now, here's my thing. We're all upset because once again we see the blatant disregard for law, the blatant disregard for life of a person of color. And we see the system making moves to protect the offenders. And there's riots happening all over the place, right? But here's the problem that I have with this. In lower income communities, black and brown lives are being lost every single day. Every day. And there's no outrage. Nobody's doing a damn thing about it. We just turn a blind eye and it's business as usual. And I don't understand this. I don't understand how it is that in our communities we have gangs, right? We got Bloods, we got Crips, we got MS-13, we got Trinitarios, we got all these gangs, right? And y'all is quick to kill somebody because they stepped on your shoes, because they looked at you the wrong way, because they're in your turf. Y'all quick to start shooting bullets, don't care where those bullets are going to land, don't care that little kids and old people are getting shot up by the stray bullets that y'all are shooting. Y'all is quick to pick up machetes and chop people up. But yet still, there's cops coming into your communities and literally committing murder, and y'all don't do nothing. When you know who these people are, you know where they live, y'all is quick to fucking pull up on somebody on a drive-by, right? Y'all is quick to show up to somebody's house because they said the wrong thing, they looked at you the wrong way, they disrespected you. Y'all is quick to pull up to their house and just start spraying shit, right? Don't care where those bullets land. But yet and still, you have case after case after case of people coming into your community, committing murder, getting off scot-free. You know where they live, but you all ain't doing shit about that. How come you ain't got bullets for them people? Y'all know where George Zimmerman live? Y'all ain't got bullets for him. But somebody step on your shoes, you quick to pull out a knife, you quick to pull out a gun. Right? And we see case after case after case after case, young people, children, elderly people being killed because of reckless gunfire. Where's the protests? Now, I know a lot of y'all right now are going to be pissed at me because you say this is blaming the victim, and no, it's not. Like I said before, bear with me, okay? Because I am going somewhere with this. But the point I'm trying to make with that story that I told in the beginning, it's up to us to let people know how we're supposed to be treated. Now, what is the message that we are sending the larger community? We sell drugs in our own neighborhood to our own people, to our own children. We sell poison in our own communities that destroys the fabric of communities, that destroys families. We're quick to take each other's lives over the most petty shit. I want your sneakers. We're quick to do that shit. And we do not hold these people accountable who do these things. We know who the drug dealers are. We know what they do. We know where they live. But yet still we tolerate them in our midst, in our communities. What message are we sending to the larger society about us? The message that is being sent to them is that our lives are cheap. Our lives are not valuable, because if we don't even value ourselves, why should they? They don't respect each other. They don't respect themselves. Why should I show them respect? It's like if I go over to your house and you got garbage all over the floor everywhere. Well, why should I bother to look for a garbage can? I'm going to just throw the shit right there. You doing it, so why can't I do it? That you have taught me that this is the way things are. This is the culture of your home. So when in Rome, do as the Romans do. What message are we sending to these police about how they are supposed to behave in our communities? And the fucked up thing about it is that the message that we send them doesn't just stay in our communities, because now they look at all of us in the same light. So whether we're in our communities or we're outside of our communities, the message that these people have gotten is that they're not important. They don't even value themselves. So why should we value and respect them? So it doesn't matter your income status. It doesn't matter your amount of education you have. Once they see all of this, they're going to act with you a certain way. Now, does this excuse what has happened? Absolutely not. I'm going to tell you all another story. And I'll probably make a video to go deeper into detail about this, but as a lot of y'all know, I was a history teacher. That's why my name, Truth Teacher. I actually was a teacher, licensed teacher in the Department of Education in New York City. I worked in the Bronx. My very first job, I ended up losing my license illegally. I was out of work for 3 years. Let me say that again. I lost my license illegally. My license was taken away from me illegally. Why? Basically, the principal of the school was using that job as a stepping stone for his political career, and I brought attention to the fact that his top 5th grade class was illiterate. And so rather than sitting down with me and trying to figure out what we needed to do to help the kids, he saw me as a threat. And he was looking for any pretext that he could find to fire me. He could never get anything on me. So one day I'm in a classroom. This was like the worst class in the school. And I had 3 kids. They picked up chairs and they were about to clobber each other. This little knucklehead goes running in the middle of them. Oh, fight, 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 fight. I'm watching the chairs coming down and this kid is running in the middle of it. I had to grab him, throw him out of the way because he was about to get his shit clocked 3 ways. And then grab the chairs. So I got to put myself in harm's way. Grab the chairs, take them away from these kids, take them down to the principal's office and say, I don't want to see these idiots here again until their parents show up. That led, to make a long story short, that led to an accusation of physical abuse in the classroom. I was supposed to, now when something like this happens, you're supposed to go to a court hearing. We never made it to court hearings. Every time we're supposed to go, it kept getting postponed. until it was the end of the year, and okay, we'll reconvene in September. In July, I get a letter in the mail that my license has been terminated for reasons of corporal punishment. I'm like, how can that be? We didn't have a trial. Nobody would take my case. I went to the head of the Department of Education and said, look, we didn't go to trial. I went to the head of the union. Nobody would help me. I have colleagues who were teachers who had their licenses taken away because they were accused of sexual misconduct when there was no evidence. I had a colleague in one of the school that Radical Latino went to, his high school. I had a colleague who was working in that school because I used to substitute teach there. Had his license taken away because some girl accused him of cursing her out, using foul language. Now, I'm saying all of that to say this. In all other professions, when you have somebody who is deemed inadequate for that position, they get removed, right? Now, can you imagine if they would illegally take my license away under the mere accusation of putting my hands on somebody? Can you imagine what would have happened to me if, for some reason, I had some kind of interaction with a kid and that kid ended up dying? What would have happened to me? If I were a doctor and I was really negligent and it was caught on camera that while I was doing an operation, I was doing some nonsense, I wasn't paying attention, and the patient died as a result, what would happen to me? But yet and still, we have a profession where people demonstrate fully that they are not qualified for the position that they've been hired for. And it results in fatalities. And these people don't see a lick of jail time. How the hell does that happen? This police officer clearly, I mean, come on, you got video evidence showing that you were clearly escalating a problem when this man was not resistant, he was not violent, he was not combative at all. And it takes all of that shit happening. People got to burn shit down for you all to finally say, oh, these officers need to be arrested. Why does it take all of this for justice to be done? And listen, I'm not one of these fuck the police kind of people, all right? My great-grandfather, who helped raise me, was a police officer. I want to have police in our communities, right? We need them. But I want people who are qualified for the job. And I don't understand why it is that we have a profession where people who are demonstrating that they are clearly psychologically and emotionally unqualified, unfit to hold these positions, why it is that they're still allowed to be there, and when they are guilty of criminal behavior, they're not removed. They're protected. I don't understand that. Any other profession where you're dealing with the public and you show ineptitude, you're removed. The doctor that was prescribing the pills that, Michael Jackson took that ended up taking his life, he got arrested. I think he did some jail time. But yet and still, we have police officers who are using unnecessary force when it's uncalled for, when people are unarmed, when they're not resistant, when they're not threatening, and they don't see a lick of jail time? I think that, listen, we're living in a country that had a revolution over far less than what has happened in this past year. Why is this still a thing? Listen, you all do what you gotta do, but, let's go somewhere with this energy. If y'all gonna burn down shit, okay. If you gotta burn the motherfucker down, well, I guess you gotta do what you got to do. But let's have an objective, okay? And the objective should be a change in laws and policies regulating police officers, people who are given the responsibility to be in a position where they have the power of life and death. That shouldn't be granted easily, okay? And if you violate the privilege and the power that's been given to you, you should be held accountable. If you are guilty of criminal behavior, you should be treated as a criminal and prosecuted as such, not protected. We got to do better. We got to do better. So I think if police officers who are demonstrated to clearly be inadequate and are clearly perpetrators of criminal behavior, they should be prosecuted as such, criminals. And I guarantee you, if that was the case, you wouldn't have people out here burning shit down. Because they would see that there's a system of justice and it works for everybody. And it applies to everybody and nobody is above the law. And that's what we need to have. We need to stop protecting people who are criminals. Just like the Catholic Church now is waking up and, taking their head out their ass after over 1,000 years of protecting pedophiles. And now they're sending these motherfuckers to jail instead of just, shuffling them around. The same thing needs to happen with the police department. People who are flagrant criminals need to be prosecuted. Because if that was you or me, and we did some dumb shit that resulted in somebody's life being taken, we'd be under the motherfucking jail. No questions asked. Okay, parents do some dumb shit and leave their kids in a hot car and the kid ends up dying as a result of that. They see some jail time. Why is the law different for them? And for the rest of us, once again, we have to take responsibility for what happens in our own communities. All y'all motherfuckers out there, you want to belong to gangs and this and that and the other. Well, here's an idea. Since y'all want to come together and do some shit, how about you be the citizen watch of your neighborhoods, your communities, all right? And instead of shooting motherfuckers up because you don't like the way they looked at them and shit, why don't you be the people in the community to actually police the community, right? So you know where the drug dealers are. You know who's the ones that's going around robbing people. You know what? You need to step up and nah, this fuck shit ain't happening over here. This is a no-go zone. You're not gonna be selling your drugs over here. This is a school. This is a community. Y'all need to take that shit somewhere else. If that's what you're going to do it somewhere else. This is a no-go zone. You're not gonna be over here flying bullets where there's women and children and elderly people. And if you do it, we coming for your ass and we taking you to the police station. I remember one day, I'm in my living room looking out the window and I see this old woman walking by, and this dude came by and snatched her purse, threw her to the ground. Don't you know the men that was around there, they were black, they were Latino, a couple of Arabs, chased this motherfucker down, knocked him to the ground, fucked his shit up, and held him there until the police came. That's what we need to do. We need to take control of our communities. Because until we do, these people are not going to respect. They don't respect us at all to begin with. But then they come in and they see the fuck shit that we do in our own communities to each other. And that just reinforces the nonsense and the disdain that they have for each other. So we need to first make sure that the laws are changed so that these people are held accountable. These rogue cops need to be taken out of there. They don't need to be wearing no badge. They need to be in prison because these motherfuckers are criminals who got into the police force so they could do criminal shit, so they could do fuck shit and get away with it and be protected. These are just people that are looking for, these are people with a gang mentality that have turned the police force into a gang. And they come to our communities so that they can do their fuck shit. Radical Latino, I'm shouting you out. I'm calling you out to back me up on this. Tell me, am I lying? Am I full of shit or what? Is it or is it not true that in our communities, the cops knew where all the fucking crack houses were? Is it or is it not the truth that the cops were also selling drugs in our communities? Is it or is it not true that the cops in our communities in many cases were also customers of the drug dealers? Am I bullshitting or am I telling the truth? Radical Latino, I'm shouting you out. Am I telling the truth? Yes or no? So we got criminals. We have criminals. They're not going to do that fuck shit in their neighborhoods, but they're going to come to our communities and do that fuck shit. And we're going to sit down and we just business as usual. So until we start valuing ourselves and setting the line like, nah, y'all ain't going to come up in here and do this shit. They're going to continue to look at us as worthless and continue to come into our neighborhoods, our communities, and treat us any kind of way. And then when they see us out in the larger community, they're going to continue doing some fuck shit because they think business as usual. So I'm not going to be sitting here, oh, we need to find a better way. Violence is not near. No, fuck that shit. Apparently, y'all motherfuckers don't understand when people are doing things the right way. So apparently, y'all don't understand until people have to lose their minds. So if that's what it takes for y'all to wake up and start doing what needs to be doing, then you know what? If you got to burn the motherfucker down, well, I guess the shit got to be burnt down. But after the fires are out and all of this shit, what do we do next? We need to hold these people accountable. The law has to work for everybody so that we don't need to burn things down. Let's make the law work for everybody, not just for a few. And let's stop protecting criminals, whether they be wearing red or blue, or they have a badge. Let's treat the criminals like criminals and let them know you're not welcome in our community. Let's set the boundaries, okay? Whether they're wearing a badge or a bandana, let's let them know this is not welcome here. We got to do it. Love and light, peace and prosperity, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.